So I'll be telling the story of my first time driving. Thankfully, it is not an eventful story as along the lines of getting into an accident. So, brief background of the story. Me and my brother were at our high school, and I was telling him about how our mom would let me drive back our lane and down the driveway into our house. So when we get ready to leave, he starts driving, and then he pulls off into this car wash. When he pulls off into the car wash, he looks at me and says, "Do you want to drive the rest of the way home?" I said sure, all excited to try to drive on the road, but that soon changed once I got behind the wheel and started to drive. So pulling out of the car wash, my hands started getting a little sweaty and my heart started beating pretty hard because I was very nervous. We turned left to avoid being on the main road immediately after pulling out of the car wash, so we tried to take some back roads. While driving on the back roads, I start to get a bit more sense of confidence in myself and think that it's not such a bad idea after all. My brother was the enabler in this situation because he let me do something that I should not have been doing. And also, he kind of took a parentification role because he was basically teaching me how to drive, and that's something usually that parents will do. So when I start driving, I start to feel a little better, start to feel more confident in my ability as the driver. So we keep going down the back roads, and he's telling me where to go and where to turn and if I'm doing all right, because I asked him all the time because I was nervous. I wanted to make sure I was doing an okay job. So we're on these back roads, and then something that I don't think either of us really thought of was that we were going to have to get on the main road to go home. So when we're pulling up to the main road, my hands start to get a little sweaty again. My heart starts beating probably harder and faster than it did before. And I actually looked at him and said, "Can we switch places and you can drive the rest of the way home?" He said no, and he's like, "You're fine, just keep driving, you'll be okay, you're doing fine." And I kept asking because I wanted to switch, but he said no, and I drove the rest of the way home. While on the main road, we passed some cars, and we did not see any other cars the whole time except for when we were on the main road. And I started to get really nervous again, started to panic a little bit, because in my mind, I just figured that they knew that I should not have been behind the wheel of the car. But thankfully, we made it. No one got hurt. There was no accident. So throughout this process, you can see my autonomy come into place because I did want to drive. I was kind of in over my head at first, but I did want to do it. But also, this situation taught me that even if something makes you a little uncomfortable and you're nervous to do something, that it is okay and it is important that you have people around you that will support you and encourage you to do things a little outside of your comfort zone to help you grow as a person.